Stay black in America. Don't leave, don't go anywhere. Truly the greatest country in the world for a black man or a black woman. I like to discuss reparations. I watched my girl Candace Owens. I became a fan of hers recently, subscribed to her podcast. But I watched a little 55-second little take of her in the audience. I mean, she was on the stage, a bunch of people in the audience. She was talking about reparations. And she was saying, mentioning the various people, ethnic groups who are suffering or had suffered and that type of thing. And she mentioned something about the Jews wanting reparation. We know Germany eventually gave them some type of reparations. We know a lot of Indian tribes in the United States have gotten reparations. We know that even the Japanese who were put in internment camps here in America got reparations. We know that even way prior to all that, we had millions and millions of the poor Europeans came to America and were given like land grants, like a bunch of land and stuff. That was during the same time as probably slavery was ending or surely ended. We know that if you take a person who was a slave and had no ownership of property or anything here in the United States of America, and all of a sudden you set them free, then where are they going to go or what are they going to do? They're human beings, of course. I mean, they can talk, they can speak broken English, I guess. And I guess a lot of them started becoming sharecroppers. They were hired back by the guy that owned the plantations to work for them as sharecroppers. You know, a lot of them tried to go up north. Some were killed going up north. Some died of starvation, disease, and germs. But they managed to exist and keep striving. You know, so and even like 12 years after the Civil War, we know during Reconstruction, black people had great gains. Many people were getting married, opening universities and colleges and businesses and doing all types of magnificent things. And we know that when the Union Army left and stopped occupying the South, that's 12 years, we know the rise of the Klan and other hate groups, and black people went from being politicians to back to being sharecroppers to being hung again. So I understand I would understand her position one way by telling people not to get hung up on the reparations because it's probably never going to happen. And one way I agree with her, because I think people should work as hard as they possibly can, and because this is not 1864, this is 2023. You should work as hard as you can to achieve everything you possibly can achieve, because all through the years there's been a gradual progression of our lives and how we live here in America. So don't stop by any means and just sit on your butt thinking about, oh, I'm gonna get reparations one day, because whenever you get reparations or whatever it is, it's not going to amount to much that's going to change your life dramatically. It might change your life to a certain degree, but not dramatically. So I think that for that reason there alone, I wouldn't get hung up on the reparation thing. But I would also agree with people who are saying that Black Americans should get some type of reparations, because we mentioned these other ethnic groups who have gotten it. I think Black Americans are the only people who were slaves on this particular continent. Some people might have worked as sharecroppers or they worked for plantations, but they were not classified as slaves. Someone who would never be free, never be able to own property, never be able to have their family and keep them. The family was subject to being sold at any particular time for money if somebody money got short. So I think if you look at it in that kind of position, you have to say, well, it's kind of a rough thing to rise from. And I watched a segment about a guy who was a former slave, and he was saying that he don't know how they made it here, or he don't know how they even existed or made it. So, I mean, I guess they were living hand to mouth the whole time. So if we look at today's time, we figure after COVID-19 and people losing their jobs and we're getting sick, and we look at all these homeless people around now. These homeless people had the benefit of a modern America, man. And here they are homeless, right? So how are they homeless? And they were none of them born slaves. White people, black people, Asian people, Hispanic people, living on the street homeless, man. So it kind of makes me think that the end of slavery had to be a horrible thing in some in some ways very horrible, not knowing where your next meal is coming from. It's bad enough being hungry, missing breakfast. Imagine being hungry and not knowing when your next meal is coming. So I think reparations is due. I think it's only going to rise up a small bit in category. I know a professor for Duke University was saying something in the manner of $350,000 per Black American, should receive. I don't know. I'm kind of basing mine on the 40 acres and the mules so-called field order that blacks were supposed to get, did not get. And so I think that's based on, if you look at how much acre land costs generally in America, if you look at urban areas and you look at rural areas, you have to say, well, maybe somewhere around $195,000 if you got 40 acres of land and probably or if you wanted to get not a mule, but say a tractor, right? A tractor or something like that. About $195,000, which I think that if invested properly can probably do something for you. We know a lot of Black Americans are not great at investing. A lot of people spending money, disposable income immediately. But whatever they do with their money, however they spend it, is their money. It's money given for labor and a work that Black America did to make America as great as it is. Because if it wasn't for the great effort in slavery, which produced a bunch of cotton and tobacco and all types of commodities, America wouldn't have rocketed to the great country it was. As a matter of fact, the country that could actually defeat Great Britain, who was the world's champion at the time. So during the Revolutionary War, we know that more than 5,000 or 6,000 Black people earned their freedom back in the 1700s. So it's been a progression of Black people getting their freedom, still people in slavery, black folks moving, going to Liberia and Africa, still Black people in slavery. It's been a constant progress. Even that June 10th thing, I think Candace was kind of saying was kind of like a joke or something like that. That just means that 250,000 people were in slavery 2 years longer for whatever reason. The news didn't get there. They didn't want to enforce their freedom. That's a lot of people, 250,000 people. That's, 250,000 people, a lot of folks, man. So I think all these things have merit. I wouldn't just downgrade or talk about it like it didn't mean anything. So I think that I kind of differ from Candace Owens there. I tend to be, more sympathetic for them. I work 14 hours a day, been working that long since I was in my 20s. So, my financial situation is different from a whole lot of people's financial situation. My parents or my father's family had farms and stores back in the day, so it was easy to pass that kind of trade on to me. A lot of people maybe didn't have that kind of thing. So it's just, you starting from scratch, man. I just think it's a hard thing to start from scratch. If it wasn't hard, it wouldn't be so many, again, homeless people in the street now. So that's my take on reparations. And also, man, the crazy thing about it is that Candace Owens is probably as old as my youngest child. And I never thought it'd be a Black president. And when Obama was elected, I'm like, really? I never really, kind of saw it at the last kind of few months, you kind of started coming, but I never thought it'd be a Black president in the United States of America. Just like, I guess right now I don't really think it's going to be reparations, but I think if reparations are implemented, they should be implemented in stages. You start from the oldest Black Americans to the youngest Black Americans, like decades. Whoever from 90 to 100, to over 100. Then whoever from 80 to 89 in categories and play it, because it's a tremendous amount of money. You think you just put it together, it's a whole lot of money. And America prints their own money. The dollar is as strong as anything in the world. So, I don't see why it can't be paid in this day and time. I talk about inflation and all the other kind of things. I think that avenues should be shown to Black folks where those African nations which are friendly to Black Americans, who want to make you citizens there, where your dollar can be stretched so much further and get a whole lot of farmland, real estate property, be able to put your hand in different streams of income, because if you get a large group of land, you don't know whether it's going to be minerals or oil or gold on it. You get real estate, you find a way how to make it that way. The reparations came, and a lot of Black folks migrated from the urban areas to the rural areas and brought more property, bigger land, because the urban, of course, the urban space is more expensive. Gentrification, you know, they say, well, white ethnic coming to inner cities. That to me is just a joke name, really, because you got older black Americans just selling their houses at high prices to people coming and want to buy them. They're going back to the South and enjoying themselves. And people, this mostly blacks, walk around fighting, killing each other in the streets, don't own anything on the block. They claim they own something, don't own a thing. So it's easy to come in and take over that, and their own welfare. The government can push them to another side of town or some of that. So gentrification to me is just another cycle. I'm old enough to remember when the District of Columbia was in the 50s, was called by Muddy Water, a famous performer at the time, was called a bourgeois town, like a white town. You could not find a place to stay. Then it had all these great immigrants of black people in the city, and at one time black people were 80-90% of the city population. So I think white people are going to find it again. Living in an urban structure is going to be a taxing to them. It's not going to be enjoyable. It's going to be, like you say, a lot of crime, a lot of just too much people packed together, a lot of crap. They don't want to leave again. So it's just a cycle, man. It's just a vicious. They'll come in, they'll live, they'll dwell, they'll ride their bikes around, they have these little paths around. A lot of people getting hit and killed on their bikes because, I guess the white privilege thinking that an automobile is not going to stop them. Somebody could be on their phone, texting and driving, drunk and driving. They get killed in the streets riding their bikes. I'm thinking like, man, I've always looked both ways. I don't care where I am. But so that type of thing happens. So this back and forth. So my thing is that I think reparations should definitely happen. And if they do happen, if somebody ups and say, well, they don't want reparations. They say if Candace Owens says she doesn't want them, or Clarence Thomas says he don't want them, any other person say, well, hey, I don't want reparations. Well, let the reparations go to whichever state they're in. Let the reparations go to to white folks in the state. Let the reparations go to white universities. This would be more incentive for to push reparations through there, because if you got 40 million black Americans and maybe a million of them think they don't deserve reparations and reparations pass, well, let it go to Republicans, because Republicans know the importance of a dollar. You're going to give somebody money, they're going to take it. If they can find a way not to pay taxes, they're going to do it. So the only person that's not going to take advantage of that is somebody who don't know much about taxes, or think they're in Disney World kind of land or something, because if reparations was given out tomorrow, I'd say give them out in $100 bills, because I definitely know what I would do with it. So, if it's $95,000, say they could definitely come close to buying or paying for a new structured home somewhere in the South, or coming close to it. Or even if people have small debts, if somebody got a $40,000 debt or $30,000 debt, it'll crush that. Somebody wants to send their grandkids to college, whether they're going to not the big Ivy League college, but historically black college, or community college, some other college, or even more important out there in time, trade, more like computers or trade, or computer languages. That's kind of the thing where money is going to be now, or solar like cars, or solar homes, or anything concerning homes or automobiles is going to be where the money is. The homes are the biggest purchase in America, and cars are the second. So again, I think that Candace, she's young, and she's a young lady. I like her. I really enjoy her. But I think that sometimes she's overly aggressive about certain stance and things of that nature, where maybe she could soften up a little bit. But I think reparations is definitely due, man, because it's crazy. And even like I heard this Dr. Phil McGraw say, oh, you give anybody a group of money, they're gonna throw it away and blow it. You shouldn't do it. It should be a study. Well, look, I'm like this. People hit the lottery and they blow the money, right? They spend everything they got. Hit the lottery and they spend it all, because, fooling his money is soon a party. If you don't know what to do with money, you spend it and it's gone. But if these reparations are what they're supposed to be, giving an ethnic group of people a bounce of money for being the only slaves in the United States of America, America during a particular time, I think it's just right to do so. Give them the money. You're going to throw it away? Well, throw it away, because if you throw it away, who's going to benefit? If you give every black American $195,000, which I think is necessary, I don't think $350,000, $195,000 is my figure. $195,000. You're going to have jewelry stores making a bunch of money, clothing stores making a bunch of money, car dealerships making a bunch of money, boat places making money. I mean, anything you can think about it. People black people are going to spend their disposable income, right? So nothing really changes. If the average black American spends 90% of the disposable income, the same thing is going to happen when they get that $195,000. It's going to go quickly, but as always, it's going to build up the economy because black people spend all their money in the economy. So all these other places are going to get the residual money, even restaurants and carry-outs, and maybe somebody want to go on vacations and travel and do certain things. They're going to get the benefit anyway. So go ahead and get it cashed to them. It's just to be a shot in the arm for America because they're going to spend the money, and mostly going to spend the money right in America. They're not looking to go no place else, so they're going to spend it all in America. Now, out of 40 million people, I can pretty much say that probably 35% are going to take that $195,000 and build upon it. They have more, their assets are going to increase. They're going to take that 195 and double it or triple it because they know how to invest. They know how to put your money in the right places and invest. So, of course, a lot of people are going to have that short-time gratification and spend the money is going to be gone. But some people it's going to last and last and last, and like I say, generational wealth for somebody else. So my thing is Candace Owens, I love you. I think you're the sweetest thing in the world. You're intelligent, and I'm a fan of yours. And so that's my take on this thing. Candace Owens versus my YouTube channel, Stay Black in America, Reparations. So to next time, subscribe, share, and like. Bye.